Hello and welcome back to the Video Editing Podcast, the podcast where you and I have a conversation about how you can become a better video editor so that you can work with your dream client sooner. This episode we have a very special guest, Mr. David Gesslbauer. Now for those of you that don't know who he is, he's a multi-award winning, incredibly talented guy. Now David and I met on Instagram because if you're not following the meme page, there's a video editing meme page called @VideoEditingIsHard, and that's run by me, and it's essentially the lighter, the funnier side of editing. Now David and I got a bit carried away, and it was a really good interview, and so it's split into two parts. This first part, we're going to talk about his career and how he got to become a represented commercial editor in Berlin. And then the second half, we talk about some video editing techniques, some of the techniques that he uses in his commercials, and some of the effects. And we talk about effects and transitions, and why they're terrible. So join us for both times because it's a really interesting conversation. He's a funny guy. Hello, Mr. David Gesslbauer.
Oh shit, look at your professional setup and look at me. Oh shit, are you recording video as well?
Yeah, is that all right?
Okay, now just give me 5 minutes and I'll find something more pleasing. Okay, this looks more...
It's okay, you look pretty.
Contrasty. Okay, there you go.
Nice.
No, I'm kidding about the glasses.
Okay.
Give me your burning questions.
Welcome, Mr. David Gesslbauer.
Hi, good evening.
Tell me a bit about you and yourself. How long have you been editing?
It's so professionally, I would say it's 10 to 11 years now. I would say I started professionally when I was attending film school in southern Germany. So this was in 2012. But I had to have some kind of portfolio before to apply there. So I did some after show videos, you know, club parties, and someone needs to cut together all the footage of people dancing. And from this point on, I never stopped doing it.
You said that you spoke about the dance videos with it looked like a sense of remorse. Do you regret doing them?
No, absolutely not. This was so much fun. It was not fun because sometimes the people who hired me demanded that the video is going to be on Facebook or MySpace back then, you know, on the next day when people wake up and just look at their embarrassing after show moments, and which meant that I don't get to sleep until the video comes out, and all for like 50 euros.
Okay.
plus free drinks in a total of 5. So
yeah, okay. So were you working on site, just cutting these as the stuff was coming in?
Yeah, actually, so I grew up in Austria, and in Austria there's this art school where you can, you know, take courses, and I was lucky to have a course in film. So we did some kind of all-around tour, you know. You can grab a camera there. You know, it was all based on like an afternoon session. So after the regular school day, you can just, you know, do your film stuff there. So I tried everything, and I ended up in editing, and that's why I then after school, I got
Yeah.
myself into the club scene. So.
Nice, nice. Was it something, did you pursue editing at that point because it's something that you really enjoyed out of all of those things? Or was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess so. This was just resonating with me the most, and at the time I was also doing some electronic music, so it all just kind of fell into place, and some things from the music side inspired the editing side, and vice versa. So and I like to sit on my ass all day and stare at screens instead of being out there. Maybe maybe this whole club thing just made me so disgusted of being outside.
It's like your calling. Some people wait
Yeah.
decades to find their calling, and you found it straight out of the club scene.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
if you
great.
put it like that,
Sitting
it
on your
sounds
ass.
really great.
So from that point, how did you? Obviously, you've got a strong background in music editing, and I think it comes across in your edits because
Thanks.
these days you're predominantly cutting, at least from what I've seen, it's the majority of the work is commercial content. There's music videos as well, some incredible stuff. The Rammstein video was awesome.
Thank you so much.
What sort of things are you cutting now, coming from the music background?
So it's so diverse. Mostly it's commercials and music videos. That's for sure. But every once in a while, there's some narrative stuff going on, like a short film, some short documentaries. What I did last year was a Netflix series, also a documentary, and my first feature film. So
Amazing.
I'm getting into it. So I'm coming from the short format, and I really love this stuff. But I try to evolve into long format. To push my style on a long format time scale, it's hard. But doing my first feature was really like such a great experience, and it was so cool to let yourself concentrate on one thing for a couple of months instead of jumping from project to project on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
So this was really refreshing. So I'm trying to do more long format things.
And was that a scripted feature length?
Yes. It's called Alice Through the Looking. It's a retelling of Alice in Wonderland in times of Brexit.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. It's
something I'm
weird
very
stuff.
familiar with being a
Oh
Brit.
yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah. The script was totally bonkers, and I loved it.
Great. There's a lot of similarities between some of the work, at least the scale and the breadth of the stuff that you've cut and the stuff that I have also cut, because I've cut documentaries, music videos, short films. I did a feature, but it was a documentary feature. But also have a background in music and music videos, and coming from there. So I've seen some of the styles of your editing in your commercials. It feels very music. You can see there's a music influence there. Okay, so given your background and where you are now, and your interest in cutting more features, would you consider yourself a video editor or a film editor?
I would consider myself a film editor because video editor sounds like an app. Sorry, man. Film editor doesn't sound like you can download it, so I would go with film editor. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Do you think the term video editor feels a bit loaded? Do you think there's some like a reputation?
If you're coming from people calling themselves videographers, then then probably there's some correlation to or some stigma to this word. Then yes. But yeah, here in Germany, you know, they have this term. I mean, guess it's everywhere, but they use the term "cutter" a lot. You know, and it just sounds so harsh. You know, and speaking with a German drive, you know, it's really like "cutter." And I try to distinguish myself from a cutter. To be an editor, yeah. And because, you know, there's a stigma that cutter are used in like broadcast, in the broadcast space. They're the people who just dare to button smash.
Okay.
So
yeah,
there's a distinction. It feels like here in Germany, from button smashing to creatively, you know, pulling together a story.
Yeah.
And
so cutter feels like a video editor, and film editor feels like the elegant next step.
That's right. The noble thing. Yeah.
I would say you could pass for royalty.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
So coming from the music video, from the music world, and then gradually working your way through to commercials and beyond, at any point was there a conscious choice to move out of the music world into commercials, and then from commercials into feature length? Or was it more of a gradual, a client came to you with a project and it just flowed through?
You know, basically all my career was just one big, just flowing and see what happens. Luckily. So because I was attending this film school, we had a certain directors, you know, who would start in commercials and then, you know, get some music video gigs on the side. So, you know, music video was always a good, you know, catalyst for, you know, trying out new teammates, and especially for, you know, for editors and directors. You know, you just see how you work together on a music video, and then, you know, if it's cool, and you speak one language, you know, then you move on to the official stuff, you know, which is commercials. And yeah, this way practically worked for me pretty well.
Yeah, so you essentially rose up with the directors that you were working with as their careers blossomed. So did
that's
yours.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so it was mostly all from connections that you made during the film school period.
That's right, yeah. Okay. I wouldn't be anything without this film school. So this was the greatest time of my life.
So film school essentially is highly recommended by you.
I mean, this one in Germany is just really good. It's one of the, I think one of the best in Europe even. So they got heavy funding from the state. So you have a reasonable budget for your films, and then you have all the, you know, expensive equipment at your expense. So I think it depends on what kind of film school you're going to, and, you know, what people going to meet there, obviously. But this one, I can't say enough good things about it. This made
What's the name of the school?
Filmakademie Baden-Württemberg. It's in southern Germany, Ludwigsburg.
Okay.
And they do have international classes even, and some collaborations with La Famille in Paris. And what's really cool about it, in like the fourth grade, you can attend an Hollywood workshop, is it called. So you're like in Los Angeles for like 2 months, and meet great people from the industry at the University of California. You know, I attended this one as well, and, you know, this made me appreciate the study even more.
Yeah, amazing. So did you make any contacts or a strong network when you were in California?
nothing that lasts.
Yeah.
I mean, I think 2 months are not enough to, build a connection that's professionally gonna last a good amount of time.
I guess at that point as well, at that period in time, being able to work remotely wasn't really a possibility, because it only feels like in the last 4 years, possibly, working remotely internationally has been a possibility. Just the size of the rushes and transfer them over the internet speeds of only, was only so long ago it would have taken weeks to download that sort of stuff, but now we can do it in hours or even minutes if you've got the right connection. And
yeah, it's amazing.
With the pandemic as well, the mindset shifts from everything has to be in person to remote's fine, no problem. That's been huge.
Yeah, I do even have an example. So I recently did a job with an American agency and an American client, and the director was, German based. They shot in Slovakia, so everything was remote. I never met the agency, but this was a huge job that lasted for almost 1.5 months.
Nice.
And we did everything from my studio here.
Amazing.
Checking in remotely. And this was also like a paradigm shift for me. It's possible. And, I like to dwell at home. So it's the best thing that could happen. Yeah.
I'm the same. And you know what? I was having a conversation with another podcast guest, and saying how it feels like the editing, where the edit is taking place, has now essentially become the hub. And whereas before, the hub of a film or film production was the production house. And if they needed you to edit, you would come in there, or you'd come to the post-production studio and edit there. Now it feels like there's a shift where the hub for the post-production of a film is wherever the editor is, and everybody else is remote.
It's super powerful, but it has its advantages, but also its disadvantages.
Of course.
I also like to go to production houses.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is that you have people you can show the thing to and get feedback and get reactions right away. This is not to take lightly.
Yeah.
If you're just all alone by yourself. Yeah.
Plus you get free biscuits.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you a bit more about how you actually, how you got represented, because you are represented by an agent. You have an agent. Can you tell me a bit about your relationship with the agent, how you found them, how you got represented by them, and how they bring you work?
So my agency is a rather boutique one. We're just, I guess, 5 editors in this agency. And it's basically run by a guy who is actually a producer, but does this thing on the side. And what they did is they signed me pretty early in my film school because I did a job with one of my professors, and they've seen it and wanted to get me when I'm fresh. And but I still stayed with them until now, so it's almost 7 years. And it's fine. Most of the stuff even comes over the connections I built over the years anyway, or over social media or my homepage. So I don't really depend on this particular agency for getting jobs, but of course it's super for being a little more prestigious, of course, and they're taking care of all the logistical stuff, and my planner, my calendar, and talk to producers and stuff. So all the shit I don't want to deal with.
Yeah.
I just want to focus on the work and the art.
Other than the work that you receive through your contacts that you've had from the film school period, how are you getting fresh jobs come your way? You mentioned social media there.
Most of the time, just word of mouth, or I work with one director and he suggests me to another one, and it goes like this. And sometimes really requests come through people finding my Instagram page. So I think this is a pretty powerful tool to have to promote yourself.
Yeah. And so they're just coming to you. You're not reaching out to anyone on social media. It's just requests coming your way.
Yeah. I got really lucky that I don't need to do that. At least now.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. Social media is a powerful tool, and really, it's like it's the modern portfolio, but on steroids, because people are actually looking for your stuff. Whereas normally your portfolio is your website, it just sits there, and the only people that ever go there are the people who send the link to. Whereas Instagram's like a portfolio that's just available for people who are searching for your hashtags, or someone who knows someone, or something by a certain artist that you've edited, or worked with a director, etc., etc. It's like a big chain, a big branch, a big network of all these links that people can drop in at any point.
Yeah. And it's not so much about how the stuff is, or what stuff is on there. It's also about how it's presented. You got like 10 seconds to make an impression, or even less, I guess. For someone to follow you, or to just get a sense of, okay, this guy knows his stuff. Or knows his craft. And with our attention span being reduced to like 10 to 15 seconds, I'm always in a good position to just pick out the best 15 seconds of a recent job I did, and call it a day.
Yeah,
and I'm certain that people don't even watch the whole thing. Yeah,
it's a great point. Yeah, so many all the time you're asked for show reels, and I never had a show reel. Well, I didn't have a show reel for years, because I was of the belief all you'll see from a show reel is the fact that I can cut a show reel.
That's right. No, it's totally unnecessary. Yeah,
so
you don't need that.
So if you want to see if I can cut a documentary, watch this documentary. Here you go. But I love your perspective, where if you're only if people can only watch 10 seconds, show them the best bits, and then they're hooked, because they're not going to spend 10-15 minutes browsing everything else.
Yeah, that's right.
The glossy version.
But I'm also guilty of this. I just try to mimic what I would want to see. If I'm checking out the director, it's really the first thing I do. You Google the director, if there's a new request and I don't know him, or she, that I check out the Instagram page, and I can get a sense right away if it's something that I can relate to, just by looking at the thumbnails. And times I hate it that it's like this. I would love to spend more time, just watching new stuff and get inspired. But most of the time, you see 20 seconds and
that's enough. Yeah. We're all guilty.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're getting if everybody's getting stupider, or if we're just becoming more efficient. I like to think the latter.
Yeah, good point.
We're just more efficient. We just know what we like in a shorter time.
We just go right at right where it hurts, or where it
exactly
where the good stuff happens.
Aim for the bullseye.
Yeah, that's right.
So that was David Gesslbauer. Hopefully you've been able to take away some great tips from him for how he got to where he is in his career. In the next episode, we're going to carry on the conversation with David and hear a bit more about some of the style of editing that he does, because I really admire his style of editing, probably because I see some similarities between his style and my style. But it feels very fast-paced, but he doesn't use any effects or transitions. So we're going to talk a bit more about that subject and some of the techniques that he uses. Now, if you found this useful, then you can get tips in your inbox every week by signing up to the newsletter. Just head to unsplice.com and you'll be able to sign up straight on the first page. And of course, if you have a question for me that you'd like answered on the podcast, then please submit your question at unsplice.com/ask. And then hopefully I'll be able to answer your question on the podcast. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care. Bye-bye.